After the age of 60, a man's body undergoes subtle yet profound changes, from circulation, hormones, to emotions and sexual needs. Some habits that once seemed harmless in the past can now quietly impact health negatively if not adjusted in time. Among them, masturbation, a natural and private aspect of life, also needs to be reconsidered seriously and scientifically. Many men are unaware that what they've been doing weekly, even daily, might be quietly damaging their prostate, reducing blood circulation, disrupting hormonal balance, and dulling their emotional and sensory responses. The issue isn't age, but how the body is responding to the way it's being treated. The old approach, fast, unconscious, disconnected, no longer fits a body that now needs to be cared for with gentleness, awareness, and presence. This video will help you explore 7 common mistakes in self-pleasure habits after 60. Not to judge, but to help you understand and adjust. Because reconnection with your own body is the foundation of health, confidence, and vitality at any age. Mistake number 1, overusing porn as the main source of stimulation. After age 60, a man's nervous and hormonal systems undergo marked changes. One of the most affected systems is dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure, motivation, and emotional connection. When young, the dopamine system is flexible, allowing easy access to pleasure, joy, and arousal. But over time, it becomes less responsive, and without proper care, the ability to experience satisfaction also declines. One major factor that burns out the dopamine system is the use of pornography as the primary source of sexual stimulation. At this stage of life, repeated exposure to exaggerated, fast-paced, and addictive adult content overstimulates the brain. This triggers a dopamine overload, forcing the brain to numb itself to protect against the flood. As a result, men start losing sensitivity to real physical touch. They feel less connected, less aroused, even when their physical capabilities remain intact. Worse still, many men fail to identify the cause. They assume it's age, or they blame themselves or their partners. In reality, it's not age, it's overstimulation. Frequent viewing of adult content can make real emotional sensations fade out. What used to be rich in feeling becomes mechanical, dull, and disconnected. If you feel less interested, less alive, the answer isn't pills or despair. The first step is to cut down on porn and slowly relearn how to connect with your body, naturally, gently, and consciously. Mistake number 2, masturbating while sitting on the toilet. For many older men, the bathroom, especially the toilet, is often seen as a safe space for personal relief. It's private, undisturbed, and familiar. However, masturbating while sitting on the toilet, though seemingly harmless, carries hidden health risks, particularly for the pelvic area and prostate. When sitting on the toilet, the body is typically hunched over, compressing the abdominal area and placing direct pressure on the pelvic floor, an area dense with nerves, blood vessels, and essential organs like the prostate and bladder. Maintaining this posture for extended periods, combined with sexual stimulation, restricts blood flow, tightens pelvic muscles, and over time may lead to nerve damage. Many older patients report symptoms such as frequent urination, urine leakage, dull pain in the groin, incomplete bladder emptying, or even a lack of satisfaction after ejaculation. Few realize that the root cause may be this seemingly innocent habit. While it may not cause immediate harm over time, masturbating in a seated position, especially on the toilet, can weaken the pelvic floor, swell the prostate, and gradually diminish sexual function. The key is not to stop entirely, but to adjust your environment and posture. Try lying on your back or standing, allowing the pelvic area to relax and promoting better blood circulation. If privacy is essential, create a dedicated space outside the bathroom where you can reconnect with your body in a more mindful and healthy way. Remember, after 60, blood flow and pressure on the prostate are critical factors for vitality. Don't let a small habit slowly erode your freedom and quality of life over time. Mistake number 3, rushing the process. As men age past 60, the body no longer reacts as quickly as it did in youth. Circulation slows down, the nervous system becomes more sensitive, and hormone regulation changes significantly. Yet many still maintain the habit of masturbating hastily, as if racing against time or just trying to get it over with. This common mistake silently damages both physiological and emotional health over the long term. When the process is rushed, the body isn't given enough time to enter a state of deep relaxation, a necessary condition for the release of beneficial hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. Instead of feeling calm and recharged after self-pleasure, you may end up feeling drained, empty, or even more stressed. This is a sign that your nervous system is being stimulated incorrectly, and that your blood vessels are not dilating properly to support the experience. Many men over 60 report reduced pleasure, difficulty staying aroused, or a loss of connection with their own bodies. But this is not entirely due to aging. In most cases, it stems from a long-standing habit of treating the act as a mechanical routine. When self-pleasure becomes an automatic response, with no space for genuine feeling, the body loses its ability to respond deeply. The solution isn't to force yourself to go longer or harder. Instead, it lies in changing your approach. Allow yourself to slow down, breathe deeply, and become fully present in each movement. See each touch as an opportunity to connect with, heal, and respect your own body, not just a task to complete. At this age, the most valuable thing is not speed, but the subtlety and wholeness of every intimate moment. Mistake number 4, neglecting the pelvic floor muscles. For men over 60, one of the most critical yet often overlooked aspects of sexual health is the pelvic floor muscles. This deep muscle group lies at the base of the pelvic region and supports key organs like the bladder, prostate, rectum, and penis. Though not as visible as arm or abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor is a hidden powerhouse that governs essential functions: erection quality, urinary control, sustained pleasure, and the intensity of orgasm. However, over time, due to habits like prolonged sitting, lack of movement in the pelvic area, accumulated tension in the lower abdomen, and a general disconnect from bodily awareness, this muscle group begins to lose tone and control. As a result, many older men face issues such as urinary incontinence, frequent nighttime urination, erectile difficulties, weak orgasms, or simply a lingering sense that they are no longer as strong as they used to be. The unfortunate truth is that most are unaware that the root cause is a silent weakening of the pelvic floor. During masturbation or intercourse, if you don't consciously engage your pelvic muscles, or worse, if you strain your lower abdomen, you're placing excess pressure on the prostate and progressively weakening this area. Over time, this contributes to decreased erectile function, lower sensitivity, and even difficulty controlling ejaculation. The good news is that the pelvic floor can be restored with simple daily exercises, most notably Kegel exercises. By gently contracting the same muscles you use to stop urination midstream for just a few minutes a day, you can gradually regain control, sensation, and confidence. After 60, sexual vitality is not solely dependent on hormones or physical strength. It lies in your ability to reconnect with and properly care for the most overlooked parts of your body, and the pelvic floor is at the heart of it all. Mistake number 5, too frequent or too infrequent. Masturbation. One of the more delicate yet essential topics for men over 60 is the frequency of masturbation. How much is enough? How much is too much? And when is it too little? This question is often avoided, but it has a significant impact on physical health, emotional well-being, and overall quality of life. At this age, the body no longer recovers as quickly as it once did. Hormonal and neurological systems operate at a slower pace. If you engage in self-pleasure too frequently, out of habit, boredom, or as a stress release, you might unintentionally drain your energy, irritate the prostate, and reduce your natural sexual desire. Forcing your body to repeat an act that ideally requires emotional connection without allowing time to rest and reset can lead to emotional disinterest and turn the experience into a mechanical reflex rather than something genuinely satisfying. On the flip side, going too long without any sexual stimulation can also negatively impact your body. Lack of regular blood flow to the genital area may cause muscle atrophy, reduce nerve sensitivity, and gradually diminish your ability to feel arousal. This silent decline often leads older men to believe they've aged out of sexuality, when in fact, their bodies have simply been neglected and need reactivation. There's no universal magic number, but for most older men, 1 to 2 mindful sessions per week, done with intention, emotional presence, and at a relaxed pace, is an ideal rhythm. It supports healthy circulation, preserves sexual function, and sustains natural vitality. What matters most is listening to your body. Recognize when it genuinely needs stimulation and engage with mindfulness, not out of guilt, boredom, or old habits. Rather than forcing yourself to meet outdated expectations, find a new rhythm that matches the body you have today. Mistake number 6, using too much force. As men grow older, many notice a decline in sensitivity, making it harder to reach pleasure as easily as in youth. In response, some unconsciously develop the habit of using excessive force during self-pleasure, gripping tighter, rubbing more aggressively, or using high-pressure surfaces. Unfortunately, this is one of the most damaging mistakes, as it not only dulls sensation but can also physically injure the penis over time. The penis contains numerous tiny nerves and blood vessels that are essential for arousal and sensation. When exposed to repeated strong force, these delicate tissues can suffer microtrauma, leading to reduced sensitivity, nerve desensitization, and in some cases, structural changes like curvature or internal scarring, similar to Peyronie's disease. While these injuries may not show obvious signs at first, the gradual buildup of internal damage can eventually impair erection quality, pleasure, and self-confidence. Beyond physical harm, having to fight for sensation creates psychological pressure. Instead of being a moment of relaxation, the act becomes a stressful experience. This constant struggle may trigger tension, hormonal imbalance, and even lead to frustration, anxiety, and emotional disconnection. The solution isn't to try harder, but to slow down and soften. Adjust your technique, apply lighter pressure, shift to more gentle movements, and focus on feeling rather than finishing. Remember that after 60, your body responds better to respect, gentleness, and awareness, not brute force. True satisfaction doesn't come from intensity, but from a refined connection between body and emotion. Each time you touch your body, let it be an act of healing, not a battle to win. Mistake number 7, lack of emotion and connection. After the age of 60, the body requires not only physical care, but also emotional nourishment. Yet many older men continue to engage in self-pleasure as a mechanical habit, detached from any true feeling or meaningful connection with their own bodies. They do it silently, hurriedly, sometimes without knowing why, just because they've always done it that way for years. This emotional absence turns sexual behavior into an empty routine, teaching the nervous system to associate pleasure with a hollow, disconnected experience. Biologically speaking, when the body doesn't register positive emotions during self-pleasure, beneficial hormones like oxytocin, bonding, happiness, and dopamine, motivation, pleasure, are released in much smaller amounts. The result? After each session, instead of feeling refreshed or uplifted, men often feel empty, unsatisfied, or even mildly depressed, without realizing the cause. Worse still, when this pattern repeats over time, the brain starts to believe that pleasure has no meaning. This can gradually damage one's ability to form emotional and physical intimacy with others. Over time, a persistent feeling of loneliness and disinterest sets in, even when the body remains functionally capable. That's why the key isn't how often you do it, but how you do it. Make each moment with your body conscious, gentle, and emotionally rich. Don't treat it as a physical task, but as an opportunity to connect, give thanks, and heal. It's not just a sexual act, it's a moment of presence, appreciation, and self-love. You are never too old to feel joy, as long as you allow yourself to be fully present with who you are. When it comes to sexual health after 60, many assume that changes in sensation, desire, or pleasure are simply a result of aging. But the truth is more nuanced. The real issue isn't age itself. It's the gradual disconnection from the body and emotions. What once brought closeness, relaxation, and joy often becomes an unconscious habit, lacking presence, awareness, and genuine feeling. Now is the time to shift from habit to mindfulness, from chasing performance to embracing sensation. It's not about doing what you used to do or living up to youthful standards. Instead, it's about honoring where you are now, with understanding, care, and presence. Self-pleasure is not something to be ashamed of, but a natural and essential part of your overall health, physical, mental, and emotional. You don't have to go back to how things were, nor do you have to give up entirely. You just need to begin again, gently, with no rush, no judgment. Take the time to truly understand your changing body, appreciate what still works, and cherish the simple, authentic moments. Because at any age, your body still deserves love, care, and respect. And when you reconnect with yourself fully and mindfully, pleasure, energy, and vitality will return. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a deep, sustainable, and meaningful way.